You know what's interesting to me? And many other people also. If you have friends and acquaintances that involved in guiltiness, in corruption, you know people in Trinidad and Tobago rather encourage, endorse, and support their friends that are doing illegal activities rather than trying to put a stop to it. You know why I could say that? Did you all see what went on with the magistrate who was found to be accepting money to be biased in a certain case recently? And they came out in the news, we are in support of our brother. How does that make you feel? On top of that also, you have a police officer who was charged with raping his own daughter and making her pregnant. And they covered that up so much, it's remarkable. You also have an army, a representative of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force raping 2 different boys. And still, it was covered up so much. We also have a news station literally knowing that a police officer highlighted, shake the cage of many individuals and unalive many people, and yet still Jackie of OCM let this arsehole remain on TV for years. And this same arsehole is the same arsehole who made many people lose their visas, made an outer timing statement about Trinidadians who bad to Kamla should get their visas revoked. Also, many people in Maruga, many people in Chaguanas, many people in Santa Cruz, many people in Malik, many people in Mova, many people in the old St. Joseph Road. Also, Diego Martin knows that he sent people home. You all know who I'm referring to. But yet still, OCM, Jackie, and a certain white glasses wearer was endorsing what was transpiring with this individual who calls himself a minister now in our government. Not our as in my government, because I didn't put them there. We're talking about this demon that definitely made a faux pas that just made Trinidad and Tobago lose more than $5.6 million in adjudication that was never supposed to happen. Now I talk calmly on this Sunday morning, and it would seem continuously this is going on. You know what's so ironic about this? You know that Jack Warner's eradication case that the DEA was holding towards his head for 1 decade. It's the same exact thing that this arsehole of a so-called minister is trying to make happen to Trinidadians. And then on Wednesday night, people realize he is the reason why the United States is moving certain ways with Trinidad and Tobago. How do you all feel about that? Do you all feel good? There's a reason I'm asking you that question. Because the thing about it, when we appoint people to positions, we expect our interest and everything that caters for us to be well sought after and at heart of these so-called imitation or limitation ministers. So my understanding and wisdom is from experience. So Pierce Robinson, Chance Williams, I believe, nevertheless Chance, Avi, who else? Boy, we have Alana the Great, we have Spicy, we have good reporting, but there are people who are not speaking what is transpiring rather than just reporting. So Pierce, I want you to understand something. $30,000 is nothing towards individuals who will do anything to hold on and relinquish nothing called power. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm one of the only individuals who interacted with Basil Pandey, also with Patrick Manning, in a hospitality experience for years. And they were friends in real life. So nothing of the 2 individuals, I repeat, nothing of the 2 individuals echo the sentiments of racism or degradation of anybody's ethnicity. Mind you, Mr. Warner was accepted by Felicity. Now Felicity, Trinidad and Tobago. Also Penal, are the two most racist parts of Trinidad in Trinidad and Tobago's history. I did not stutter. So for Jack Warner to be accepted, think of how great that is. And I always like racing. I always like fast cars. I always like bikes. I always like the ocean. So the amount of friends that I made who are not of my ethnicity, even though I'm mixed, is remarkable. So you see, just like our talk about that point and the sun came out, vitamin D is important. Some people need exposure to certain things to change their mindset and how they think, and realize that Trinidad is a cosmopolitan, exposured land from since prior to, let's say, maybe about 1764. And knowledge is power. So you see, when people who seeing money and doing corrupt things just to divide and conquer the nation, that's why I'm kind of different. I don't ever lie, and I don't feel the need to. But being pathological liars is a typical thing of people in power. How could you have a minister who loves being a pedophile, and furthermore he was with the PNM regime and now he's with the UNC regime, and he's doing the same exact thing as Colum Mbert did? Everything is homosexuality and little boys. And furthermore, getting your son a position in something that he doesn't deserve. It was Adrian Mbert that got a job for $50,000 a month. Now we're seeing Mr. Jeremy's son getting a job in TNTech. Then furthermore, TSCT, Nestle Trinidad and Tobago Limited, along with Atlantic LNG, was the three most applied for companies in Trinidad and Tobago history. You could do your research and realize I'm not lying. So within that, on Friday, my stomach along with my mental was opposed to each other on seeing a certain pathological homosexual liar who constantly does things and pay people to make himself look good in his media make two people resign, because I heard that they got paid off. I heard they got paid off. And clearly his friends is who he gave the positions to in TSCT. Nestle Trinidad and Tobago Limited. I don't think that these people who call themselves leaders really want to see anything called a Syrian-owned Nestle Trinidad and Tobago Limited. On top of that also, and I need to say this now because people don't realize when it's happening, a psychological operation is when you keep on painting a narrative and subliminally post it so much that you make the people who's listening to the narrative begin to believe it. And what's been going on, every time something negative happens, they always bring up another story to cover up the previous story. And that's real hard. So what's happening right now is that the situations that are going on in Trinidad and Tobago, where in the world have you ever heard about a legal and straight, legit government listening to my calls, listening to other influencers' calls, listening to see if you can implicate them in wrongs? Furthermore, when you have a minister of communication who is also touching in two different realms of nothing that he knows about, that shows you that his mental and his itinerary of vocational training, he don't know what he wants to be. If he wants to be a flamboyant homosexual, if he wants to be a minister of communication, if he wants to be a drunk bitch on a carnival stage embarrassing Trinidad and Tobago, or if he wants to be a Hermes purse holder. All these things are interesting. Notice none of them seek out Trinidad and Tobago's interests, but they try to make himself look good at all times is what he does. So buying Gucci loafers online until people have to highlight it, why are you spending so much money, is one interesting thing. On top of that also, machine everything. People see certain things in Trinidad and Tobago as jokes. So the emasculation of men, suicides, broken relationships, starvation and abject poverty is funny to you all. That's what you're trying to tell me? Okay, no problem. On this Sunday morning, do you know how much people have to leave their homes to make money for their family of 6? Yo. You know how much people have to go out looking for it, even though it has no jobs in the country? Think well of what I'm saying and understand totally. Plausible denial of things that you're doing, it only works for such a long time. When people realize that you're lying so much, they're not going to trust you. So going by a woman who is probably the second best open cook in Trinidad, in Southside, making a video on Saturday morning, you thought people would have liked you. What you need to understand, nobody likes a sodomite that is flamboyant, that is robbing them. Nobody likes when children die in their country. Nobody likes when everything Negro and everything that we stand for, independent or based in Trinidad and Tobago, is punned as in horse shit. Because I've heard you say it many times behind closed doors, and you don't know who your real friends are. You think that black people are monkeys, don't you? Okay, it's nice to be an educated monkey, just like what Kendrick Lamar said. You hate me with a passion because I'm black? Right. Go do some research on Los Angeles. Go do some research on Divide and Conquer. Do some research on Carl Jung. Go do some research on the Dodge brothers. All these things very important. Furthermore, there are mad people who change history, but you're just a mad homosexual who wants to hold on to power. So Margaret Thatcher, the mad queen, the true mad queen, made a difference in the world. Also Henry Ford did. What difference are you making in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Ratty Bararat? You are the same exact pun, just as Colum Imbert's pun called Rhoda Road Rat. You all are doing the same exact thing, pushing race and sexuality and gaining a 15,000 plus salary. It's very interesting. The heightened disrespect shows when you have gambling on a Sunday and somehow think it's okay. Nothing you're doing to Trinidad and Tobago right now is okay. But nevertheless, just now it seems like we're going to pay to go Maracas. So within that happening, it seems like just the joys of walking in the street may be targeted. With that being said, remember Trinidad and Tobago. Fidel Castro, Raul Castro were some interesting people. Also Martin Luther King. Also Malcolm X. Also the Black Messiah. So you see, when individuals like a jackass, in fact, let me say it plainly without bias, when individuals like Troy Mohammed make statements about me and call me names, I rather remain very quiet, because there's individuals in the Trinidad and Tobago prison service who definitely want to make your whole head disappear. You keep calling names, yet still you're melanated also, because Mr. Mohammed, you should do some research on a word called Khan, what it means and where they came from. Also, what Muhammad means in the Israeli world, Iraqi world, and Egyptian countries. Your intelligence just showed. And if that's how you play your cards, you'll easily be won over. So with that being said, Trinidad and Tobago, as usual, I love you guys. Food for thought is what you could call this one. Deuces. Yo, P.S. You know what I forgot to tell you guys? When they're being intimidated by people in the service, as in members of the police service have friends that they know they could finger, and I mean that literally, finger with fear. Don't try to instill that fear inside of me, because I will make you out definitely. If it's $30,000 for somebody's phone records, what is the chances that you could instill fear into somebody like me because of who I associate with physically? Notice when you're observing my phone, I don't call anybody, but you threaten somebody with WhatsApp conversations that we have. So Mr. Smith, I realize you're trying to be a real asshole. Not a problem. If you want to be the reason why toilets were invented, not a problem. But never use a former police officer to call me and use intimidation, especially one that mobilizes and tortures and definitely does things to his wife that no other husband should. Do you hear what I'm saying? With that being said, do enjoy your day. TTS, those corrupt members of that service, do enjoy your day today. And to the good ones that talk to me, yeah, you know exactly what I'm referring to.